This is Tracy D. Armstrong with What's Your Mess? And we have another great episode for you all today. Today we have Mr. Jamahl Simmons joining us. Jamahl, go ahead and tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
I'm the CEO and chief honcho over at Third Coast Media. That's what I do. I am a AI expert that speaks.
So you're an AI expert that speaks. You're the head honcho at Third Coast Media. Is that what
Sometimes,
okay?
sometimes
Sometimes.
it happens. Mhm.
Okay. So I know that you haven't always been in that particular position. So could you tell
Correct.
everyone a little bit about your mess?
My mess is about fear. That's why I wear this shirt. It says "Fear is for others." It's a Bruce Lee quote, right? My mess is about fear. So if you follow all the rules, you'll always get exactly what the rules will allow. But if you take a chance to step outside of the rules, and I don't mean that in respects of um, breaking rules like negatively. I mean the standard ideas that you've been sold your entire life, that you need a structure to make money, to take care of your family, to live that life or that life. That it's not true. What you're looking at is somebody scared. It's fear. Fear for you. They don't want to see you fall. They don't want to see you go through pain. Nobody wants to have their family members or loved ones to go through pain. It's fear for themselves, because a lot of times what happens is, if you are right, if you do step out on faith, as they call it, right, and go do what it is that's close to your heart, and you're right, it causes the other person to have to look internally. They have to look to themselves and say, hey, you know what? And no one's a friend or a family member. You'd be surprised how genuinely happy other people are for you versus the people that are around you. But that's another story. When family members that grew up in the same socioeconomic value system, same basic schooling, same family, and you go far and beyond what's expected of you in your own self and even your own path, it causes that person to have to look inward and say, why am I not where they are? Because they're the first thing they're doing is they're judging based on their own personal, connection to you, which they shouldn't do in the first place. But when they do, it makes them reflect internally. So it always comes out ugly. So the first thing I want to tell you about is, just to get the fear part out of the way. But once that happens, you can find something truly that speaks to your heart and soul. You don't have to be put inside any kind of box that's going to make you earn this or earn that. There are many different ways to skin a cat without taking the fur over the head, my grandmother used to say to me. I don't know who's skinning cats, but that's what they used to say. So uh, yeah, that's it. Oh, and the AI revolution is here, and your stupid school won't matter anyway. So how about that?
So, so you mentioned fear. So I
Mhm.
kind of want to go back a little bit. So is there a situation that you've gone through to where fear played a part in it?
Oh yeah, I was stuck in a dead end job. Well, I'm the only one. I know I'm the only one that's ever had a dead end job. And what I mean by that, it was no upside to it. Um, I've had about 50 or 60 jobs. I'm being light. It's probably close to 80. My friends and I play a game called How Many Jobs Have You Had? And if they name a job that I haven't had or had one that's like proxy to it, they take a shot. But if they guess it wrong, but if they get it right, we used to do that. So that's the joke. You know what I mean? Like I've had them all. I've done them all, high to low, from indoors, outdoors, to from computers to at home to high level, low level, as low as painting numbers on curbs to as high as CEO level stuff. I've had them all in between. And just for me, it wasn't fulfilling because I had always been sold a dream that if I just do these things that was required of me, that I would find the joy in them. And the actuality is I can't find joy in anybody else's dreams. You'll live somebody else's dreams and you'll get to the end and you'll be upset. Um, can I just speak? Do you mind if I speak for a second on that one? Mind if I just
Mhm.
expound a little bit?
No
So
problem.
one day when I was working a cube job, it might have had a job with a cubicle. And I'm not crapping on cubicle jobs. You do what you got to do for your family. You know, I mean, that's first and foremost. But I'm saying I had one of those jobs, and I had done everything they had said do. I had gotten the degrees, I had gotten the certifications. I was number one in this, that, and the third. I get the job, and I'm sitting in the cube. 4 months pass, and I go, oh no. And then the tears just came down my face. I couldn't figure out why I was crying. I called my friend on the phone who done IT, and he makes way more money than I ever did doing IT. And I asked him, I said, is this it? Is this it? So now I have to find joy in the money. But there's never any joy in the money. That's the joke. Spend your whole life hunting. But there was never any joy there to begin with. That's the joke. You know?
So can I expound on that? So
Sure.
what kept you there? Was it fear that kept you there, or was like, how
Yeah.
did the fear play the part in that?
And I'm sorry, I'm sorry I didn't keep going. I got a little emotional. So that's a fact. But yeah, it's all those fears. How am I going to make money? What am I throwing it all away because somebody else is looking to you and they're saying that you should be doing this, this, this. So you're just dancing around, jumping through hoops on fire. You don't want to break anybody's heart. You don't want to disappoint anybody. You want everybody to be proud of you. Are you proud of yourself? Are you the one that's happy at the end of the day? And is it bringing you fulfillment and joy? If you're answering no to any one of those things, it's time to start looking. And then here's the other part that I came to talk to you here today about that I didn't mention, was that if you sit behind a computer for a living, your job is about to be over with in under 3 years. I know, I know. It's hard to take. It's hard to swallow. I know, but it's a fact. I watched it happen personally to me. You want to talk about overcoming fear? So this is the other part about faith. So God just pushed me out of the door all the way. He wouldn't even allow me to stay there. He was like, fool, you got to go. I'm trying to stay. I got to make that money. Maybe these new shoes. I got a car note I got to pay. I got rent to pay. And then one day I went to work, and a good buddy of mine, I worked night shift, and a good buddy of mine came into work. He said, come to my cube real quick. I said, what's up? We go to this cube, and they had hired him to do some coding and programming. And the process that we used to do it for this IT process, it took minutes. You had to sit there and do stuff and type this in and look for that. Da 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 da. This guy came in and automated the whole process. At first, it was 2 button clicks and a drag. Then the next day I came to work, it was 1 button click. I went to his cube and I said, please don't show the boss this for another 3 weeks. I got to get my resume together because it's over for me. He had just killed my job. And if you've had half a TV screen on, if you've ever had TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you know there's an AI thing going on right now. And the AI thing is doubling so fast that any kind of tech job or sitting behind a computer job or even answering the phone job, they're going to be gone. So what's going to happen is your need to survive is going to take over from your fear. So even though I'm wearing this, it won't even matter because your survival mode will have to kick in or else you're done. You're going to have to find something else to do. Is there anything else you'd like to say? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the screen, looking at the camera. I'm trying to, well, I'm sorry if I just took over like that. It's just, that's, it's in me. I want to save as many people as possible, if I
No
possibly can.
problem. No problem at all. And that's why I was going to go into the mental aspect. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, like mentally. You mentioned fear, and you mentioned how you were kind of in that position, and then they pushed you out the door, and you kind of stayed there for fear of not knowing what you were going to do after that. Is that
Right.
kind of the mental aspect? Because how did that affect you mentally?
Well, it was really the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. And of course, I had to prove it to myself. I had another stop at another job. I decided to go back to my old haunts of teaching school. And I'm not gonna do it to you today. I'm not gonna kill teachers today. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm just gonna say that what they're being taught is behind what's going on in front of their face, and that's just from me teaching And that's to anybody that's got any children or going to have some children or whatever. You're going to have to do some extra work when that kid comes home, because what's going on outside the door of that school is a light year ahead of what they're being taught, and the way they're being taught is a lot different than what's necessary. But backing up to what you're saying before, when you become an entrepreneur, you have to learn a few things. You have to develop thick skin. There's no two ways about it. You're taking on something, an undertaking that people are going to look at and judge it. Can you take them saying whatever they're going to say? It's not a fighting thing. That's their fear. It's not, I'm ready to fight to defend it. I don't have to. That's their fear coming out in word form. Are you going to, can you do that? Are you ready to lose family and friends? Are you ready to possibly not be there for your loved ones for a little bit? You're going to have to pay something to get in. That payment is time in the beginning, but in the end part, the payment out is time, because that's the real game. The real game is time.
So emotionally, when it comes to the fear aspect, how has fear affected you emotionally?
Oh, it'll make you gun shy for a lot of things, even sharing emotion, because you don't have time for it. You forget to have time for it. So much to the fact that it'll ruin your business, because I don't know if anybody else is like this. I know I'm alone in this world. I was raised by good, hardworking, blue collar people that went to work every day for 30 years and got watches and such and retired out. I'm the only one, right? That blue collar, hard work, salt of the earth. And anybody can finish this sentence for me. You can't find nobody good these days. I'll do it what? Myself. I'm going to do it myself. Did I butcher that? I probably did. That's not the point. I'm going to do it myself mentality. That's the kind of mentality they have. And you get caught up into that. So then when you start your entrepreneurial journey, which is outside of what you've been taught, you've been in a box of, go to get a job out that box. To get outside of that box, you have to get outside of the thought process. I'm going to do it alone, because your job, whatever your job is, you're doing it alone, but for somebody else. But when it's the other way around, you can't do it alone. It's best not to do that. So that mentality it creeps in. So for me, early on, I really didn't, trust anybody else to do what it is that I do. So I just did everything myself. I've lost good customers like that. I've lost good clients like that. I've lost contracts like that. I've paid those mistakes. So it's the fear of trusting other people. That part, when you become an entrepreneur, that has to go away. If that's your deal, if you're going to hold on to, you can't trust anybody, this is all me, then don't do it. Stay with your job, stay where you're at, clock in, clock out, go home, because you have no shot being an entrepreneur. None.
So with that being said, as far as your social life, as far
Zero.
as socially,
It's zero. It's
well,
zero.
can you explain, like, how is it zero? Like social life, you're
Where I'm
saying.
going. I'm doing business stuff all the time. Like, I don't, if it's not involved in it, I don't really want to talk about it. I don't want to go. The time is short, right? It's not forever. So I get a more value. It gives me a more value of time. So socially, my friends already know everything there is to know about me. They know what I'm gonna do, and just about any situation, right? But I can give that up for a little bit, right? No, we can't give it up for a little bit. We got to have it all the time. You've had it all the time your entire life. This is where you are.
So can we go back? Because I need you to expound.
We might have to edit some of this out. I'm going left. I'm sorry. I got the.
No, I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly, because we were on fear and we were talking about fear and how fear can cause mental and emotional situations in life, especially when it comes to career changes and things like that, are being stuck in what you really don't want to be in because of fear of change, right? And so when I say socially, you say you had no social because of the fact that you were trying to do everything yourself for your business, or because of the fear of,
see both A and B. See both A and B. It's for a fact. Like you don't, You're like, I gotta, whatever amount of, if you ever read 10X before, it's the truth. It's the Bible of it, of effort. Whatever time you think it's going to take you to get that business off the ground, multiply it times 10. Whatever amount of money you think it's going to take to get that business off the ground, multiply it by 10. It's like, that's the truth. There's no, it's not refutable. It's like when you try it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I thought I was going to be able to do this in a month, and it takes you 10 months. That's the game. If you want to accelerate that, whatever. So that, even that being said, I have to spend 10X amount of time on it in the beginning. So the parable I use is this. You like a good parable, right? Three guys are riding down the street in the car. The car begins to overheat. This is old cars. I'm not talking these new ones, but they made electric. Okay, the car begins. He put water on an electric car. The car begins to overheat. It needs water. They pull over to the side of the road. They see a farm down the way. They grab what they can, flashlights or whatever, and they go and knock on the guy's door. They say, hey, can we get some water? He says, yeah, it's out there in the old well. You guys go out there and pump as much as you want. Anybody know anything about a well? It's got a little handle on it, and you see them on the old movies, and they be doing like that, and the water shoots out of it. What they don't tell you is that you got to prime that pump. So the first guy gets out, he starts pumping quickly into his pump, and he realizes nothing was coming out. The other guy comes and say, hey, you got to prime that pump. He says, what do you mean? He says, you got to put water down in there to get it going a little bit so you can pump it out. They find a little creek behind the house. They go back there with the hubcap. They get some water in the hubcap. They dump it in there. They start priming the pump. The guy's pumping, he's pumping, and he's pumping, and nothing's coming out. So he starts pumping harder, and he's pumping, and nothing's coming out. Nothing comes out. And then finally he gets tired, and he's like, I quit. The other guy comes on and rushes, grabs it. What are you doing? And he grabs and he starts pumping even harder. And after about another 30 seconds or so of this pumping action, water starts gushing out. And now he's pumping a lot slower, but water's still gushing out. Water's still gushing out. Even if he stops pumping altogether, water's still gushing out. So the moral of that story is that you got to fight like hell in the beginning. That's where all the work is done, so that in the backside, you can reap the benefits of all the work you did. And then you can slow up if you want to. And if you don't want to, of course, continue to pump like a crazy fool, but it's unnecessary. Let's go find another well. Start pumping on that one. Hey, did I say that right?
So with that being said, as far as your status of life, because you're saying that fear causes people, and I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
You causes you to mentally, emotionally, and then like socially, you're saying, is it because socially you just didn't have time? So how did that affect your status of life? How does the fear affect how you live your life?
The fear affects it because you begin to believe that you need it. And if you need it, then you have to go and attend to it 100%. When in actuality,
what is the it?
I mean, your social life, right? You've got this social construct, and you've been fed your whole life that's the social construct. But let's be honest, you got about 3 friends. Everybody else is some folk you know. If they're really your friends and they see what you're doing, they'll understand. If they're not your friends, you'll understand. That's how that goes. You got 3 friends. You don't have, you ain't got no crew of dudes that's all y'all all friends. No, you're not. You got 3 tops. I got 1. I was born with that one. Okay, maybe I got 2 tops. Everybody else is just people I know. And as your social life, the fear is you're going to lose your social life because you have a fear of this, lose my job. Part of it's, I'm not going to have the same social status. I'm not going to be able to drive what I was driving. I'm not going to be able to go to eat where I was eating. I'm not going to be able to go do what I was doing. So you're like, I got to keep up that appearance. But my line has always been, you can't drive a Lamborghini into the nightclub. You can drive it up to it and get out and walk in. But what goes on the inside of the nightclub is something totally different. But that's another story for another time, obviously. But you have a fear of losing all those things. You have a fear of keeping that appearance when it's just fear, because the people that look up to you, still look, they're hoping for, they're rooting for you. And even people that are rooting for you, looking from afar, looking at you, ninja watching like ninjas in the bushes, looking. I hope she make it. I hope he don't go broke. They got they're staring at you from afar. They're doing that because they it's a hope. It's so inside of them. They can't express it, because to express it is, sometimes it's locked in. That's not for you to decide, but there are people watching you. You have to do it. You have to shut it down. You got to get the time. You got to collapse time, or wait. You don't have to do it. Wait. Keep waiting. Get it next year. 2027 is yours. 2030, man, I'm gonna do it. Wait.
Okay. Are you saying as far as wait when it comes to stepping out from the fear, or are you talking
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah. Wait to step out on the fear. You'll do it next year. Don't worry about it. You got them next year. Don't worry about it. And then if you don't have it the next year, don't worry about it. You got it that next year too. Forget everything I said. Don't worry about it, period. Change when you're
So,
ready.
facts. So, with that being said, you are saying that you had this fear and you were
Mhm.
able to step out and you were able to overcome that fear. Now,
Mhm.
tell the listeners, how were you able to do it? How were you able to clean up that mess of fear in your life?
Wow, thank you for leading me down this path, because I was never gonna get there. Please land that plane for me. so, so take it too serious. Everyone's too serious here. The way you change is the mindset. The Chinese have a saying: uh, if you could do something about it, then don't have any fear. If you can't do anything about it, then still don't have any fear. I mean, there's no need. If you can't do nothing about it, what are you fearing for? If you could do something about it, there's no need to have fear at all, right? So it's change. You have to change the entire philosophy for the inside to change. Whatever you had been taught from before, don't look at it as all been wrong. It got you here. Wherever here is, it got you here. Be thankful for that. You could be 1,000 other places all over the world with atrocities and stuff going on. And even if you are in one of those places, it got you here. You're hearing this today. You know better. Now you know better. You know that all you have to do is just change the way you're thinking here, and then this part will change.
Okay.
Just change it here. This part changes.
Now, I know that you're saying change your mindset.
Mhm.
Now, how were you able to do that?
Oh, um, Eastern practices, meditating, being present in the moment. That's really a good one. If you can meditate, you can look up some guys on Theravada Buddhism. I follow a guy named Ajahn Brahm. He's a Tibetan monk that's in Australia. Sadhguru, um, plenty of other guys. You can go down the line. Even listen to little Jordan Peterson if you can. Sometimes he speaks about it. And really, it's just teaching, being present in the moment, and realize just look at something. Just pay attention to something for like 10 seconds. And realize you're here. A speck on a speck on a speck on a speck on a speck in the universe, in trillions of galaxies. A speck on a speck on a speck on a speck. Go someplace big. Do something good for somebody. Do something for free for somebody. Oh my God. Do something for free. Just give something away. And then you get some kind of introspectiveness. You say, oh, you know what? Because you're doing it. So it's got to happen. It's not impossible, right? You can go out and give something away right now. Grab something, anything, go give it away. Got $1, $2, give it away. It happened for you, right? Isn't that how faith works?
Mhm.
Isn't that what they call that karma? That's how karma works. That's it. That's it. So I think of it that way. Like, if I want to reap some stuff that's good, try to give something away. Try to think about where you are right now in the moment.
hmm
You know,
So
yeah.
when you said being in the present
Mm-hmm.
moment, and then you
Mm-hmm.
said you listen to, are those
Oh yeah,
speakers?
those are monks and priests and stuff like that. So not was a priest, or gurus or whatever you want to call them. And they have a lot of Eastern teachings, which Eastern teachings really direct forward. Like you got a problem, you're the problem. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, blaming nobody else. Hey, you failed to. It's your fault, but don't beat yourself up. That's the other part. It's two parts, right? So it's your fault. You can get yourself out of all the problems, but don't beat yourself up if you haven't gotten yourself out of them up to now. It's the realization that you can, and then actively then doing something at 10x speed if you want 10x results, right? I'm putting it all. Now I'm landing the plane, right? At 10x speeds, at 10x results, you put it all together. Now you're actually doing it. Now you're doing it at 10x. So what are you going to reap? You're going to reap 10x. So that's to say, if you go out and give, so if you give one thing, then you're going to reap one thing. But if you give 10x things, then you're going to receive. A lot of people won't do this. Give it all away. Get rid of it. That's stuff from your old life. Get rid of it. It's do nothing but hold you back. That's talking about Erica Badu was a bag lady. Bag
hmm
lady.
hmm
you you can't hurry up because you got too much stuff. You gotta throw it on the floor somewhere. Let it go. You don't need it. You need another 42-inch flat screen TV. No, you don't. You got two in the garage. You need another iPhone. No, you don't. You got three in a drawer somewhere. I used to flip iPhones for a living. Everyone's got 2 or 3 iPhones laying around somewhere. Old Samsung phone or old something. Give it away. Get rid of it. Get rid of that old couch. Sleep on the floor. Throw the clothes out. I'm going too far now. I'm sorry.
But are you saying? And I just want to make sure that the listeners
Yeah.
can understand
Yeah.
exactly what you're trying to encourage them to do. Because you're saying give it away, and you're saying they got too much stuff,
Mm.
and these types
Mm.
of things.
These
But
are
okay,
parables. These are parables. It's not. I'm not saying. I'm saying if you can physically do it, do it. They have a thing called the monkey mind in Buddhism. I'll explain it. Somewhere, I won't say where. Let's say India. I think it is. They used to. I'm sure they've done it other places. Nothing's invented anywhere. Humans do this stuff over and over and over again. Somewhere where monkeys are a delicacy, they cut a tree down and they cut a knot hole in the tree. And then the knot hole is just big enough so that when they put some nuts and stuff down there and some bananas down at the bottom, whatever, right at the bottom, right? And then when the monkey sticks his hand in to get the nuts, he makes a fist, and then what happens? He can't pull his fist out. But because he's such a monkey, then he can see the guy in the trapper coming over. He can see him. He walked right over, hit the monkey right on top of the head. The monkey's out. Because the monkey won't let go. The monkey will not let go of what he thinks is the prize. The prize is his life. Let go. So you can get on up out of there, so you can go do something else if that's what you choose to do, so you can ascend a little bit higher. You can't, if you want, if the plane is going down, you can't keep dumping furniture inside the plane and saying, don't go down. They say jettison the cargo. Get rid of it so it can fly. Get rid of that cargo so it can fly. So that's as much as possible, so you can be as light as possible. And that's what I want to say.
okay, and you use that's a great parable.
Mm.
And you're saying that you did a lot of these parables where you
Oh, yeah,
listened to a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
these
Now we're
parables
landing the plane. I did a lot
in
of those things.
order to, I just want to recap, because you listened to a lot of the parables and you took the information and it helped you change your mindset. And so when
Mm.
it helped you change your mindset, then you stopped
Mm.
having as much fear as you were having when it came to situations in life.
Land that plane, girlfriend. That is how it's done. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tracy D. Armstrong just landed this plane without any wheels on it, belly first into the river. She needs a medal because I was flying that thing all over the place. I'd have flew it to the moon. They'd have had enough gas in it. It was on its way. Yeah, I used all of those things. to not be a hindrance to myself, because really the game, the opponent, there is no opponent. You're the opponent. You're beating. I think somebody said you're beating yesterday's guy. You're not beating. Jamahl can't beat Jamahl from 14 years ago. Jamahl has to beat the guy from yesterday. Beat that guy, not beat Tracy. Beat Jamahl from yesterday. Beat that guy. And if you beat that guy enough, then you'll be as great as you want to be, until you say, I don't have to beat that guy no more. If you just look at that guy from yesterday and say, man, he held his breath underwater for 3 minutes. I'm going to go for 3.5 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm going to beat that guy. If that's what you're doing, of course, it's an analogy, but yeah, these are the things that I've learned, that help me get past the fear part. That and realizing, that this is all an illusion, although a very, very convincing illusion. It's just an illusion. That's it.
Well, I was about to ask you if you had any last minute words to leave the listeners, and you've dropped a lot of nuggets and you've dropped a lot of knowledge, but I'm sure that you have something else that you would like to leave the listeners with. Your last words.
Yes, ma'am. If you want to get in contact with me, email me, talk about AI stuff. You can find me at AICashbox.com, or how about this one? Scratch that. Go I'm at JamalSimmons.com. JAMAHL, spelled just like it's spelled right there on the bottom of the screen. JAMAHLSIMMONS.com. That's like that, but with Simmons on the back of it. Or you can find me on Facebook at the AI Money Group, or you can find me on Instagram at Sonny Chiba. SONNYCHIBAH. You can find me there, and I always leave some stuff there, some places you can go to, and we talk about AI stuff, and I make videos like this, and I talk to people like Tracy D. Armstrong about how she can get a better website and how she can track better and do AI stuff and all that stuff like that. So hopefully you'll see more of she and I together.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge, sharing your wisdom with the listeners. And as I end my episodes every time, I just want to leave you all with this. If you want to stay sad, live in the past. If you want to stay anxious and worried, keep thinking about your future. But if you want to be happy, then think about the present and be grateful for the things that you do have today. This is Tracy D. Armstrong with What's Your Mess? Have a good day, y'all.
Who loves you, baby?